Hi and welcome to Write with Alex. Today's video is about the inner critic. If you are struggling with writing and you feel like what you write isn't good enough and maybe you have a really strong inner voice that is criticizing everything you write, then this video is for you. And also, you are not alone. I don't think there's a single writer who has never been overly critical about what they are writing. But there are ways to overcome this, and in this video you will get some practical tips and exercises to try some strategies out, and you can also check out my video how to silence your inner critic, and in that video I will go through more strategies of how to do this. And grab your writing gear and let's get started. So for this writing, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. This is going to be divided differently than I usually do them, because this is going to be divided into two parts, and the first part is more reflective about getting to know the inner critic, and the second part is more just normal writing exercises. And so the first part about reflection is getting to know your inner critic and trying to see what it is and where it comes from. And by getting to know it more and kind of getting a shape for it, it can be easier to see that this is something separate from yourself and that it's not inherently you that is saying this, that is thoughts you don't have to listen to. So for this first exercise, you're going to write and reflect about this, and the first step is to try to visualize who this inner critic is and who is speaking to you and where does this come from. And some of you might have a specific person that has been criticizing your writing before, and some of you don't. And if you don't have a specific person, then try to find maybe a shape or a color or a specific voice of this to kind of give it an outline. And write a little bit about what your inner critic looks like, and write down some things that this voice says to you. And we're going to do this for 2 minutes, and just write about who your inner critic is and write down some things that it says. And we're going to do this for 2 minutes. So I am starting the timer now. that was our time. Now, for the second part of this reflection, look at what this critic has said and try to talk back to it. Use your logical brain to write down some answers to this criticism, and yeah, just see well, what do you really think about this now that you see it out on a page, and what can you say to this critic? And we're going to write about this for 2 minutes again, so just look at what you wrote and talk back to the critic. And we're going to do this for 2 minutes, and the time starts now. That was our time. So for the second part of this write-in, we're going to do more proper or creative exercises, and these are some of the things that you can use if you are having a day where your critic is really strong and you are struggling with getting words onto the page or keep going. Then you can use this to kind of force yourself into a scene or force yourself to write, even though you feel like, you're not feeling great about it. And so the first exercise is to describe a scene before you start writing it. And some of you already do this because you plan a lot before you write, and this might not be, so this might be even more useful for someone who is don't plan so much in the beginning or before, sorry, I got sidetracked. So yes, so the exercise is to describe a scene before you start writing, and the reason why can be helpful is that instead of focusing on what words you should choose that will be included in the end product, you can just describe something behind the scenes and you kind of get into the feeling of what you're supposed to write without actually putting words that like count, because you're not going to use them later. And then when you have described more of the scene, then you can start doing this, and you don't have to describe the whole scene. You can just describe the start and then go on writing. And sometimes you can write a part of the scene and then keep going in the scene, and then you can edit the first part later to be more actual scene and not just the planning part. I don't know if that makes sense, but well, yeah, so what we're doing is just for this exercise, describe a scene and try to move from a description into actual scene, somewhere in that line. And for this exercise, make something up to write about. The first thing that comes to your mind, just take that and describe it and then start writing it. And we're going to do this for 5 minutes. And time starts now. else our time. So for the next exercise is a really simple one, and that is just to turn the color of your text to white, so you can't see any of the words that you have written, and that way you're not tempted to go back and edit while you're writing because you don't know, you can't see it, and that's a way to just like keep going forward. And if you have strong, you don't have to do this for your whole writing project, but if you have a day where you're like, I'm just not going anywhere, then just try this out and see if that can help. And for this one, I will give you a prompt if you want it. If you want, you can also keep going the scene you did or write something completely different. And the prompt is a really old magical tree. And we're going to do this for 5 minutes. So turn your text white, and if you are writing by hand, you of course can't do this. Maybe try just closing your eyes and just write, and yeah. Yeah. So we're going to do this for 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, wait. Time starts now. All right. That was all of the exercises for today, and I hope you had fun and that this has helped you at least a little bit about kicking out your inner critic and creating some ease in your writing journey. So thank you for taking time today to write with me, and good luck and happy writing.